hello, everybody. Welcome to Open Source Friday. If you're not familiar with this Twitch stream, which I guess now is like also LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live, it's basically a conversation or a show where I have a conversation with open source maintainers and contributors about open source projects so we can gain more exposure to different open source projects that exist, and we can learn how we can get involved in the open source community. So I see a couple people in the chat. I'll just say hi to hey Joshua, hey Kyle. Let me know where y'all are calling in from. Anybody else? Hey Will, also that's my friend over there. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining. Um, so today we have Maryblessing, who is coming to us from the CHAOSS project. From what I know, the CHAOSS project stands for Community Health for, and you could correct me, Maryblessing, but like basically it's about community health analytics for an open source software. I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't
Mhm.
used it, haven't learned about it yet. So I'm excited to learn from you. But first, start with telling us who you are.
Yeah, awesome. Hi, everyone. I hope we're all doing well today. First, I'm dialing in from Lagos, Nigeria, and my name is Maryblessing Okoli, and I'm a community architect and advocate. I'm dedicated to building sustainable tech companies and communities, and also committed to seeing more women find their part in tech and take up more STEM roles. Yeah, and shout out to every Black women out there. This International Women's Month, right? So I'm also an open source advocate, and I'm actively contributing to the CHAOSS project, to the African chapter, and my CHAOSS journey started last year, and CHAOSS Africa, CHAOSS project is my first project, right, in the open source space. So that's me.
That is awesome. That's awesome. I love the shout out to Women's Month. I like that last month was Black History Month, and then March is Women's Month. So
Yeah,
yeah. Awesome.
yeah,
So tell us a little bit more
yeah.
about what chaos even is. Like, what does it do?
Yeah, sure. First, I'm an active contributor at the CHAOSS project. So, CHAOSS is an acronym for Community Health Analysis in Open Source Software, and open source has been around for a while now, and it has become undoubtedly popular in recent times, and it's becoming an integral part of the modern software development. And open source community health is crucial, and even in its overall sustainability, right, in the long term, right? Understanding the health of open source communities is really, really important, and that's where CHAOSS comes in. And just a little bit about CHAOSS. CHAOSS is a Linux Foundation project focused on creating metrics models, and software to better understand the open source community health on a global scale. Right, this project kicked off in September 2017. The open source summit North America, right? And chaos, right, operates majorly through its working groups, and I'll be talking about that in a few more minutes. And a brief history about chaos, right? Chaos was first announced in August at Open Source North America Summit, and in 2017, chaos first board of directors were assembled, and in December 2017, the DEI working group, I talked about working group. We work pretty much through the working group in chaos. So the DEI working group was launched in December 2017, and that's my favorite working group in chaos. And two chaos conference happened in both Europe and North America. 2018, and in 2019 two new working groups were created, right? And also in August 2019 chaos released its first metrics, right? And in June 2020 chaos cast was aired, and this is like a podcast where we talk about open source and what happens around the chaos project community, right? And fast forward to 2022, the community adopted the chaotic as a name for its members, right? So every contributor in Chaos Project is known as the chaotic. And in June 2022 was the launch of the two chapters, the two local chapters, which is the Africa and the Asia Pacific chapters. And I personally contribute to Chaos Project through the Africa chapter. And just recently, we celebrated Virgin 100 events. Woohoo! And also, at Chaos, Chaos has a very clear goals, right? First is to establish standard metrics to understand the health of open source communities, right? And secondly is to create softwares for gathering and analyzing data. And so we don't just create metrics in Chaos, we also develop software. I'm just going to talk about that later on. Then we also develop initiatives, and an example of this is the and DEI badging initiative, right, for the deployment of metrics not attainable through the online trace data, right? Then we also produce project health reports, right? And why chaos, really? I know you're going to ask why chaos, and this is because open source contributors first wants to like know they want to know where they should like focus their energies on what community they are going to like be a part of, and also project managers want to act as or project managers or owners, right, want to attract new contributors and grow their projects. And also open source companies want to know which community to support, right? And lastly, open source foundations want to help enhance the health of open source communities in the ecosystem at large. And yeah, that's brief about chaos, right?
I love that. And that was I learned a lot. So, first off, I didn't realize Chaos had different working groups within like the entire ecosystem. And I like how you described it, that it's there to help people understand, like, should I contribute to this project, or as a company should I be supporting this project? This might be, I hope this is not too tough of a question, especially because it's not listed here. You might not be prepared. Feel free to tell me. But I'm just curious, for someone who is not familiar with open source, what do you mean by project's health? Like, how do you know if a project is healthy?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Um, so um, these are like the things we do in chaos. Making sure that open source projects are healthy. So, and one way is that so for the metrics we create in chaos. Through the working groups, we have the okay. I didn't list this, but we have the DEI working groups, and this is focused on metrics around diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have the risks and value working group. We have the communications working group. We also have the common metrics working group. This is like where we create metrics that's not like a part of other working groups we already have, right? And so how do you know and how do you open source? Open source community. So when you start contributing to a community, um, I feel I feel like first of all you want to first of all like analyze if the community is welcoming. And that's like one thing we value in chaos, right? We want to create a very safe space and friendly space for contributors, right, to be able to thrive in. So I think as a contributor, first thing would be making sure the community is welcoming, and so you want to start ticking some boxes like are they DI centered, right? How transparent are their communications? What's the structure like? How do they have clear policies, right, on things like say racism? What's their standpoint on things like racism? Say gender, say demographics, right? So when you get into an open source community, I feel like like these are the things you want to start looking out for to be sure that this community is healthy, and also um, even as a first time contributor, or you are new to contributing to open source, when you are in a meeting, for an instance, and you try to, like, bring up some suggestions, are they shutting you up, or are they allowing you, express yourself, and give value, and create impact in that community in your little ways, right? I feel, for me, that's like the things I'm going to start looking out, right? If I join an open source community. I don't know if that answered the question.
No, that was you answered that perfectly. I think I just asked that for like people who may not know. But yeah, that's like really really good stuff that you brought up. Like project health or open source community health is like is it inclusive? Is it welcoming? Are they having favoritism over other people? Is there psychological safety? Like all those things that you mentioned. Definitely. And I could understand that being a first time contributor, you will be worried about that. Because I was worried about that before I made my first contribution. I was like, oh my gosh, will I be going into this project where people will laugh at my contributions or think call me stupid or just ignore me? So I love that that exists. And so you said that what attracted you or what inspired you to get involved in the project was the DEI part. Am I correct? Or like what was your why did you
Yeah.
look out for it? Did someone hit you up and was like, "Hey, you should contribute here"?
So if I get your question correctly, like what inspired me to get involved in the Chaos project?
Yeah, yeah. I just meant like,
is
yeah,
that is that
like if there's
okay? Great.
any story
Okay, great.
behind it. Is it was it the first time you contributed to any project or yeah.
Okay, great. Like I mentioned earlier, Chaos is actually my first open source project. Yeah. So for me, it's the community, right? I think for me, when I first heard about Chaos, first I was curious to know how open source, works. So I joined Chaos, and the community was so welcoming, and I felt I had this sense of belonging, right? I had this sense of belonging when I joined in, and they were like, code of conduct, those things, and you ask questions, everybody is ready to, like, assist you, help you out. It felt like a very safe space for me, to be a part of, place for me to be part of. And another thing is that humans love to, they love the feeling of being a part of something bigger than them, right? And something making a real impact, right, on the world. And that was the case for me. I saw the Chaos project, and it's, for me, it's like a very rare project. I did check out some other open source project, but this one, it stood out for me, right? I just knew that within me, if I'm going to be a part of this thing, I'm being a part of, something changing the world, right? I'm making real impact, in the at the global scale. And another thing for me is my belief in the project. I may not have the right words for this, but I so much believe in our capability at Chaos. Everything we do, it just goes so smooth. And yeah, I so much have believed in the Chaos project. So that's why I wanted to get involved, and I am still involved in the Chaos project.
Awesome. I love that answer, especially when you said humans want to feel like they're part of something bigger. Like that is so true that we do, and humans want belonging and community. So I love that. That's what attracted you to the project. I love that it's the first project you ever had. Okay, so I would love to
Yeah.
go into the demo or at least see what it's like. I'll admit that I usually test if you can screen share before the show starts, and I
Okay.
forgot to because we were both late. So, do you want to try screen sharing? And while you do that, I will like highlight some comments that I'm seeing. If it doesn't work, we'll skip the demo. Sometimes
Okay. Cool. I
Sometimes it wants you to like sit
Trying
and
to like.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
No, yeah. So
Okay.
sometimes it wants you to hold on. Sometimes it wants you to quit Chrome or whatever browser you're in. If it does that for you, we can skip the demo. But I will just
Okay,
say,
cool. That's fine. I think I was just going to say that it's not like a real demo. I'm just going to like show the audience some of the metrics we create at Chaos.
yeah, that's
I
okay.
I don't
Sometimes
know. Can you
it's
see my screen?
yeah. Sometimes the demos
Yeah,
aren't
awesome.
technical. Sometimes people are just showing me the code base and walking through like, oh, here we have this component or whatever. Like demo just meaning you're showing something. But before you get
Okay,
started, I do
cool.
want to highlight
Okay, this.
people. Oh, I think we're like lagging.
Mm,
Before you get started, I did want to just
yeah,
quickly.
yeah. Okay, great.
Ooh,
So when you go to the Chaos website, the Chaos community website, so there's the tab that says metrics, and this is where you're going to find the different metrics we create here at Chaos, right? So I'm just going to probably click on one. Let's see. Okay, let's see events. The network is really slow. So we had rain today. So
it's okay. It's all
okay,
good.
cool. Um, yeah, awesome. So I just clicked on the event matrix. So this event location and I'm saying so for the events, right? So the way chaos works is like the goal, then the questions, then the metrics. And what I mean by that is that we have a set goal, then we kind of like jump on the call. For instance, then we start brainstorming and we start asking questions around that goal. Then after that, we start creating or identifying metrics that answers those questions we have identified, if that's clear, right? So we have things like event accessibility. We have things like the public health and safety metrics. We have things like the code of conduct at event, right? We have things like diversity access ticket, inclusive experience at event, family friendliness, event demographics. So I'm just going to click on one. Um, okay, I think I'm familiar with the event badging. I just recently became a badger.
Oh, that's awesome. This one looks cool.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So this is the DI event badging, and so we like to. We're very transparent here at Chaos, so we like to like state so this why this particular metrics matters. User stories and metrics in the metrics model. That's the working group. We have like things like the data insights. This like data we have through research and the brainstorming sections we had, right? So this DI event badging, what it pretty much does is that let's say you're an open source community and you want to organize an open source event. So you could come and you could do this through the chaos github profile, and so you pretty much request to get a badge for your event. So and because we've asked questions around these events, the DI event badging, so we have created the metrics for it, right? And so we start ticking off. So you probably provide us with some details, right? So based on those details you provide us, we start ticking off. Okay, does your event meet this criteria? Is it location conscious? Is it some people host events and they set up time that is not favorable to all, and we have different time zones. So these are also things, we ask questions and we start ticking off those based on the criteria we have on ground. So if your event meets all of these criteria, then you are awarded a badge, right? And you can put these on your event website and say, "Yeah, I got a badge from Chaos." And like I mentioned, we just celebrated our 100th event badge so far. So far we've badged 100 events, right? And you could, I think I was checking out open source, was it open source notes? Yeah, and I found that they, you know, they got the Chaos badge, right? So that's like pretty much how the DI event badge works. We want to be sure that your event is equity, right? We want to be sure that DI is centered around the events you have in open source. And let me just check out another one, the family friendliness. I think I'm also familiar with this one. Um, yeah, we ask some questions, right? And before we come up with this metrics, and pretty much is like this family friendliness is like for these events, are people able to, like, bring in their family, maybe their kids? What's your plan if they're going to be coming with kids? What's the plan for their safety, right? And also things around, oh, you're hosting an event, is physical, and are you gender biased? Are you saying, for instance, the LGBTQ people are not supposed to be in that event? And if they're going to be there, what are the plans? For instance, the toilet, is it just for the female and male gender, or do we have for the female, the male, and also the ones that caters for the queer people, right? So like these are all the things we check out before we now badge your event, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Have I
no,
said
that's
it a
awesome.
lot?
I didn't even know that existed. So essentially, an open source community can run an event or plan an event,
Mhm,
and they can show people or indicate to people that their event
mhm,
is DEI friendly, or family friendly,
mhm,
like they can bring their kids and stuff like that. And what y'all do is you verify
mhm,
that it is like
mhm,
for sure that way. Wait, so I have a
mhm.
question. How does someone sign how does a community project or whatever sign up to get chaos to evaluate their project?
The event.
Yeah, their event, sorry. Yeah, like how would, if I said I have an event coming up, how do I get chaos to give me a badge or whatever? Do I create an issue in a repo, or how does that work?
Exactly. Exactly. So you
Yeah.
go to the chaos GitHub repository, and you just find a way to the DI repository. Then you create an issue, requesting for a badge. Then so we have a bot that just automatically just shows you some criterias, rather
Mhm.
information you need to provide, right? Then
Yeah.
we take it up from there. Uh, yeah.
This is so awesome. Awesome. And like this was a nice short demo. If you are okay with it, I'll just quickly highlight some comments. Like some people are just saying hello, and I do see like one question in here. Does that work for you? Cool. I think we have a little bit of a lag, but I'll stop the share. You can stop the share too if that helps to reduce any of the lag. Oh, you left? Okay, cool. Your camera went away for a little
Sorry.
bit. No worries.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people here who said hello from Nigeria, so I just wanted to
Hello.
point them out. Someone said hello from Congo, India. So just saying hello to those people. Someone said
Hey.
thank you for sharing this information. Have a good day. Um,
Mhm.
Someone said this is really interesting, and then they said the website looks really great. And then someone asked this question, and it's okay if you're not really sure, but they're just wondering how diverse is the contributors and communities. Sorry, how diverse are your contributors and community around like the chaos project? I think. Do you happen to
Oh
know?
yeah.
If you don't,
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have people from almost all over, be a part of the chaos community. Um, I think we have the queer people, we have people from China, we have Indians, we have Africans, right? So yeah, I don't have a particular figure on that, like the numbers. So but yeah, we're pretty much diverse, and everyone is welcomed, right? Everyone is welcome to join chaos.
Gotcha. Yeah. And like, even though I'm not part of the chaos community, from the outside looking in, it does look really diverse. Because every time I talk to someone
Mm.
from like, what you said, like these different global regions, they're like, "Oh, I'm involved in chaos." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that's really really cool." So yeah, it does seem spread out, and that's okay if you don't know the exact stats. If someone asks me how diverse is GitHub, I don't know. So yeah, cool. um, Let's see. So I'm gonna go into like maybe some other questions just about like your journey in open source. And like my first question to you is like, what challenges have you encountered as a contributor in open source? And the reason I ask that is because sometimes we will when we encourage people to get into something, whether it's a job or open source, we only talk about the positives. But sometimes I think it's helpful to also talk about like what parts were hard for you so that people don't feel alone or they feel prepared.
Yeah, that's a great question. Ah, okay. So chaos being my first open source project, I have really, to be sincere, I've really not encountered any form of but I think, okay, cool, I think I have one now. Cool. So I think when I joined chaos, the first 4 months, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was so confused, and I wasn't sure how to start making meaningful contributions, and I had to, like, step back a little. Then I thought, okay, what can I do? I have project management as a skill, community management as a skill. Then I started getting more involved in meetings, started asking questions, researching, and I mean, Elizabeth could testify to this. I discovered a lot. So I think the first challenge for me was figuring out exactly what to contribute. And I also feel like open source project owners, right, should start considering these things, right? There are a lot of no code contributors that want to contribute to open source, but there's nobody helping them out or supporting them, if that word is right, or supporting them. So there's this ideology that contributing to open source, you have to have like programming skills, you have to know how to code, but it's not always like that. There's the documentation, there's the technical writing, there is community management, there's project management, and there's data analysis, right? There's research. You could be a researcher and be a part of any open source project, right? I think yeah, figuring out how to utilize my skills and make meaningful contributions in chaos, that was the biggest challenge for me.
That is awesome. I love that you brought that up. I wasn't really sure what type of contributions you made. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you were an engineer or not, but that is a problem that I've noticed and I don't know how to solve it, right? Like it's easy to tell people like if you're a software engineer or if you know how to program, like here's how to set the project up, pick up an issue and start contributing code.
Hmm.
But how do you do that if you're like not like what's your thoughts? What's made it easy for you when you're not a coder, like a software engineer? How do you what makes you get enabled to start contributing to the project?
Okay, so I think I'll speak as a community manager, right? So first was I had to first of all understand, like, have a solid knowledge of what the project is about, of what chaos is about. So that was why I was doing a lot of research. I was asking lots of questions. I was joining every meetings, right? Until I said, okay, I think I want to focus on the communications and the I work in group, right? But before then, before that decision, I was everywhere. I was in every of the meetings, right? I was always there, right? And I think so I asked questions. So we had a community manager, and for the Africa chapter, Roots. I know you know Roots, so she has been really helpful, right? So I think what made it a lot more easier for me was that so I started out with welcoming newcomers, right? I was like, okay, these guys are here, they are new, so how do we, and we have a bot that pretty much welcomes people to chaos, right, to make things easy, but there's always this part of the human touch that never lies, right? I mean, I'm a community manager, so no matter how you automate things, there should always be that touch of human in everything you do, right? So I was like, okay, maybe I could, welcome to chaos. This is how to get started. If you have the skills, this is where to go. If you're from this part of the world, this is the group or the channel to join, right? So I was just consistently doing that, and because chaos is the kind of project that in as much as we need coders, we also need everybody, no matter the skills you have, right? For instance, things like coming up with metrics, we do that on a call, right? So we just jump on a call, and everybody starts. We have like a Google Docs and spreadsheets that everybody has access to, like it's transparent, and you could add your thoughts there. So each and every of these things counts, whether you join the meeting, you have contributed in your own way, because somehow maybe you have said something, you have shared an opinion that helped the general project at large, right? If it is code you did, you raise an issue, you have contributed. If it is research, we have someone spearheading the research aspect of chaos, and that's also a contribution. We have people writing articles around the things we do in chaos, and those are awesome, right? So I think the first step would be understanding the project and analyze your own skill set and understand where you as a person can come in. And yeah, ask questions, always ask questions, right?
I loved your answer. One, especially about the human touch, because I know like the tech industry is moving a lot towards AI and automation, and like I love that stuff. Like I'm a software engineer by
Hmm.
trade, so I love that stuff. But like you
Yeah.
said, it can never
Yeah.
replace like the human connection. You can automate away some stuff, but you still need that human connection. Um, and I like
Hmm.
what you said about asking questions, being like when you said you were just attending the meetings, like that's why I always tell people that was the biggest difference in me not understanding how to contribute to a project and then starting to, is just I talked to the maintainer and I was like, what do I do? And then he told me what to do.
Yeah.
Before I didn't
Hmm.
know what to do. So yeah, just
Hmm.
talking. If they have meetings, if they have a Discord or a
Yeah.
GitHub discussion or something like that, go in there, introduce yourself, and try to join in the conversation. Someone
Hmm.
is saying some good comments.
Exactly.
They said there's no embarrassing questions. I agree with that. They also said just like any other profession, there's support services to open source besides software engineers and such. And then they also said it's good to get niche
Hmm.
in the field, yet have a broad knowledge across the industry. Um, there's one question in
Mm.
here that I'll quickly answer because you already answered it, but I think they came in late. So they were saying, how do you measure
Okay.
performance of goals with chaos? So I think what Mary Blessing showed us earlier is like chaos has this, basically if you have a project like or a community, right, and you want chaos to be able to evaluate the health of your community, is it inclusive, is it welcoming, like is it a place that people want to be and they feel psychologically safe that they can ask questions without being made fun of. Basically like you open up an issue, they to ask chaos to evaluate those for you, and then basically y'all use like
Hmm.
specific
Hmm.
staff to evaluate that, and you approve
Hmm.
or give them a badge if it is cool.
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
my other question
Cool.
to
Yeah.
you is, what, sorry, did you have something to say? My bad.
Oh, no, wait. I think you pretty much covered everything
All right,
I
cool.
said. Yeah.
What's been a rewarding part of being a contributor to an open source project for you?
Okay. Hi, Reza.
Yeah, you might have froze for me.
Are you
I
there?
was Could you did you hear me?
Oh, no, no.
Oh. I said what's been like a rewarding part of being a contributor for an open source project for you? What's been like what makes it worth it for you? Why do you keep contributing?
Okay. I first would be the fact that I I believe in the project so much. The project I contribute, chaos, and second would be the people. The people are really really awesome, right? I think you know that feeling of of belonging, it's just there, and it keeps me always want to take out time for my busy day and still jump on Slack or Discourse, to join in conversations, to show up on meetings, to share my thoughts when necessary, right? So I feel like it's just my belief in the project first. So I think it's also necessary you find a project you're probably really passionate about, right? So for me, it was just me loving the project, believing in it, and the people around, right? I've been able to make some really awesome connection just being a part of the chaos community. So that's like the things that keeps me, going back, to contribute to chaos.
That's lovely. I love that. Okay. If people are watching and they're like, I really love what Mary Blessing's saying about this project, I want to start contributing. What advice would you give them? How should they start contributing to chaos?
Yeah, yeah. So give me a minute. I'm trying to see if I could share my screen again. Um, freelance. Okay. Window. Okay. Is it up? You can let me know.
It's coming up. It's like circling. In the meantime, I'll add
Okay.
the there it is. There it is.
Oh, awesome. So I'm trying to navigate. Yeah. So on the website, we have a quick start guide for newcomers, right? And it's pretty simple, just 4 steps. Yeah. So you join the Chaos Slack or Discourse. You attend weekly Chaos office hours. We have monthly onboarding calls for new contributors joining Chaos. You can also find the Zoom link here. There's also like a separate tab for the calendar where you could find the, the the details to different meetings, in different working groups we have in chaos. Then attend some weekly chaos community meetings, right? And this is like the final step. If you want to take things further, you just um, go to the contributors participating page. So yeah, it is. You could look at the different teams, and teams here is the working groups we have in chaos, right? Put their meetings on your calendar. It's very easy. You just click on the calendar, you find the meeting, then it says add to calendar. So it adds to your calendar automatically. So you attend a meeting, right? Then you can also, join the associated Slack channel for that particular working group, right? And if you don't want to join the Slack, you could go to the Chaos GitHub repository. You can raise up an issue. There's also a discussion tab there. You could start conversations, right? You could ask questions if you want. You don't even need to be a part of the community. You don't need to join Slack. We have a lot of people that join the meetings, but are not like they're not in the community, right? So you could just join in the meetings whenever it's happening for the working group or for the weekly chaos call, community call we have, right? And that way you already started your contribution.
Awesome. I love how they have the steps listed out, y'all. So go ahead and go to chaos.community if you're interested in contributing to this project. It's an awesome one. I really learned a lot from you, Mary Blessing. Um, My next question to you is just like, how do you think we can, man, maybe you won't know the answer to this. It's a hard question, and a lot of people don't know the answer to it, and I don't either. But like, how do you think we can increase like diversity and inclusion in open source?
Okay.
Like, what can make it easier?
Great. I think a lot of open source communities are already doing amazing job, especially here at Chaos. But I think the first thing would be attitude. First, open source project owners should have the right attitude to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right. I think that's like the first step. Right. And there's also like a place for certain clear policies. Right. Getting the policies right is like the first thing to more inclusive. If you want to get like if you want to add more inclusive framework to your project, right? Developing and communicating, in forms of policies such as issues on, say, racism. I think I've mentioned this before, sexism, disability, religion, right? So I think another thing would be, opportunity. I think another thing would be opportunity. So I was looking at a report one time, and I saw a comment that says, I think that this person joined an open source project, and they were not able to make contributions because they are not part of the core team, right? But they want to contribute. So the core team members are not like they don't trust people enough to be able to make meaningful contributions to that particular project. And I was like, that's not fair. I feel like OS project owners should like give new contributors the opportunity or chance to showcase their skills, right? Because the truth is that we all come from different backgrounds, right? And understanding the different levels of each contributors are in their journey is really, really important. So you have to give them the opportunity to showcase their skills, and it's okay to fail. You could always correct them, right, if they make mistakes. I mean, that's like how they learn, right? Also, not selling open source to be developer only movement, if that's right. Yeah, I think I mentioned that before. If you ask the average person, how do you contribute to open source, they could tell you, oh, you should be a developer, you should know some certain technical skills. So but no, open source is more than that. I had mentioned the community management aspect of it, project management. People need to stop selling open source to be a developer focused movement. It is not, right? As a community manager, I have come to realize this, and we these open source project owners needs to do more in projecting the right information out there, so that people know that yes, regardless of their skills, regardless of where they are from, they are able to make meaningful contributions to your open source projects. That's my thoughts.
I love it. I love even the passion that you're speaking about this with. Like, I wish I wrote down my thoughts as you were talking, but I really do agree with you that one, it's not a developer focused thing. Like everybody can contribute. This is a place for people to learn and grow. And then I love the story that you brought up of that
Mm-hmm.
person that wanted to contribute, but the project owners didn't trust them. That's almost like, what's the point of open source then if they can't if they can't trust other contributors? Like if someone makes a mistake, that's the whole point of a pull request. Like you review the pull request and you kindly tell them like, "Hey, here's how you can um here's how you can improve this pull request. Here's how you can improve what you just did. We love what you submitted, but here's a couple like additions that you can add." Oh, your camera went away. Uh-oh. But in the meantime, I will look at some of the comments. Let's see. We have someone said cohesive community, and also someone said thank you for sharing this. They also said if somehow projects reach small villages across the world, they might both benefit themselves and young talent from across all the world. Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe even solve some big issues in the society. I truly believe that as well. That like we do need to get more global in terms of open source, kind of like how chaos is, because then we will learn from those other people and have less of like an American centric project or American centric solutions. A lot of times I think some projects aren't really solving things that could have a positive social impact, and they might just only have a like, oh, here's how you can fix this really first world problem. Let me ping Mary Blessing and see if everything's okay. I know that she said the network was bad over there because it just rained in Nigeria. I'll wait a couple minutes. If people have comments or questions that they want to give, I will respond to them here, and I'll wait for her to come back. We only have like a couple last things to ask, like how does she pronounce the word GIF? Is it GIF or GIF? And what's her favorite Beyonce song? Just chill stuff. Um, cool. Let me ping her. And if not, we can also end the stream soon. Oh, there she is. All right, you're back.
Whew.
All good, all
Yeah.
good.
So
Well,
sorry about that.
that's okay. I know you said the network was bad over there. That happens. Literally, I've been on a Twitch stream where I disappeared like 4 times, so it's all good. Um, um, someone so I while you were gone, I pointed out, what was I saying? The story was interesting about them not wanting that contributor to them, not trusting the contributor to make a positive contribution. I was just like, you should be able to, like, that's the whole point of open source, so you can learn from each other. Like they could
Mm,
probably learn from that new contributor, and the contributor could probably learn from them. Like they
mm,
submit a pull request, and you're like, oh, here's how you can make it better. But also, I didn't think of solving the problem in that way. And I was also just pointing out some awesome comments from people. Someone was saying cohesive
mm,
community. Someone said thanks for sharing this, and then I had repeated this already, but they said like if somehow projects reach small villages across the world, they might both benefit themselves and young talent from all across the world, maybe even some solve some big issues today. Um, some of these questions y'all should ask me offline because they're not necessarily related. Like the GitHub Accelerator program, I believe they chose the people and they're going to announce it soon in the future, but not sure. Cool. And also, one thing I forgot to tell you, Mary Blessing, is I really like how you said they call contributors of chaos
um,
chaotics. Was that what you said?
yeah, yeah, chaotics. Yeah, yeah.
I like that. Like,
So I'm a chaotic.
I like that. I'm like, more projects should like do that.
Yeah,
Like, wear this. Yeah, I like that. So I only have
yeah,
like some last questions to wrap up with, and they have nothing to do with open source. They're just fun
yeah.
questions. So the first one is, if you could eat
Hmm.
one food for the rest of your life, what will you eat?
Yeah, great. um, fufu and the melon soup. And the reason is because he's heavy, so I'm able to take it in, exercise, and it kind of like spreads across and gives me a lot of energy. Yeah, it's
I
an
like
African dish. I love it.
I like that. Okay, so you're like, I will eat
Mm,
fufu because I will have energy for the rest of the day. I like that. That's smart. A
okay.
lot of people just choose the thing that they think is most tasty. um, so what is your, if money was an issue, how would you ideally spend all of your time? Like if you didn't have to have a job, like what would you be doing?
Uh, um, so I think I would be touring the world and also contributing to my favorite projects, open source projects. So yeah.
Nice, that's fun. I love, actually a lot of people have said like they will be so happy just contributing to that their favorite open source project. really quickly, we have this question
Okay.
that said, and if you don't know, that's okay. It says, what's a good way to reach outside your neighborhood or usually community so that you can collaborate on ideas or get an understanding of the bigger picture? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Sorry, I'm trying to read up. What's a good way to reach outside your neighborhood? Okay. Would the person help break this down? Do you know what the person's trying to say here?
Maybe they're just trying to say like how can they connect with people outside of like where they live. Like if like I live in Boston. For me, I would say the internet's been my easiest way to connect with people outside of
Mm,
that. Like I try to tap into not
yeah.
just like the black community. I try to see like, oh, what are people doing in this part of the community? Like public health and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Like I just try to see what else is out there. So that could be one thing, but if you don't know, that's okay. It's a little bit of a hard question.
I think for me, the internet as well. I mean, I think 30% of my friends, I found them on the internet, and they're nowhere around my neighborhood. So I think the internet is a great tool
Yeah.
to actually use for that to connect to anyone outside of your neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? When I was young, my mom will always be like, "Don't talk to strangers on the internet." But it literally helped my whole
Oh my
career.
God.
So
Right. Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Just a couple more questions. How do you pronounce the word that's spelled GIF? Do you say GIF or do you say GIF?
Jeff. I said
You said
Jeff.
GIF or GIF? I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I said Jeff. Is
Oh,
it
me
GIF?
too. That's what I say.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
they followed up and they said usually you connect with your friends online and offline, but when it's small places where internet access isn't quite there. Oh, I didn't really think about
Mm-mm.
that. That's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
harder.
true. Do they have like events happening around? You could attend these events and network with people. Does
Yeah,
that
I
work?
guess so. I guess so. Yeah, if they do
Or
have
they could organize one themselves, and get others involved.
that's a great idea. Yeah, if you
Huh?
organize an event and then invite other people, then you can get other people involved there and meet people outside of your community. Also, my my VPs roasted me and said I thought you were cool. That's what the cool kids say, okay? Okay.
Exactly.
My last question for you is what is your favorite Beyonce song?
Oh, um, break my soul. You
Yeah.
wanna break my soul? Yeah, you wanna break my soul?
That's a good one. I love that choice. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Oh, actually, do you have any last things that you want people to check out? Maybe you want people to follow you or check out Chaos, anything.
Yeah, please check out Chaos, follow us on social media platforms, check out our GitHub repository and raise an issue, start contributing. You're welcome. You're welcome. Then also you could follow me on Twitter. It's UKDev with the double V, right? On
Yeah.
Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well, or Maryblessing on there as well. Yeah. I have a blog. So I also started this thing called Becoming an open source community manager. I mean, the first series is supposed to go out today, but I've just been so busy. But I'm
Yeah.
going to work on it and I'm going to put it out there. All right. So, and space.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. That was okay. So go ahead and follow Mary Blessing on at UK Dev. I had the Chaos Community banner up for a while. So go ahead to
Mm-hmm.
chaos.community. And like you showed us, there's like a new
Mm-hmm.
contributors outline that shows you like how to get started in chaos. Um, thank you so much. Uh, if you want her LinkedIn, I think it's just her name. She if I stop sharing the banner, you'll see that the LinkedIn's right there, or her name's right there. You can search that there, and look for her blog.
Mm-hmm.
What's your blog on?
Hashnode.
Hashnode?
Hashnode.
Okay, cool.
See.
So check her out on
Yeah.
Hashnode. And thank you so much. I know you said earlier you were nervous, but you did really, really great. Because one, I learned a lot about how.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did good. Like I think other people thought that as well. Like we already showed you some of the comments, but like we learned a lot about how.
I felt
Hmm?
I
Go
felt
ahead.
like you made it easy for me. And
Oh,
shout out to you. You made it easy for me.
no, you were prepared. I'm
Yeah.
glad. You were prepared. Like just learning about how they look at community health and how people can sign up to say like, hey, my project is or my community or my event is family friendly. It's
Mm-hmm.
DEI like it's inclusive and stuff like that. I thought that was really good on
Yeah.
like how y'all put so much effort into thinking about
Yeah.
those things. And then also what you brought up about non-code contributors and how we can make it easier for them to start contributing.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Cool. I will thank you so much to the chat as well. Thanks for watching in or tuning in, y'all. And thanks for always having
Mhm.
engaging questions for us and engaging thoughts. One person here said, it was really wonderful to have such a good session on my completion of my first year as a developer. There's so much to learn. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So I will let you go now. I'm going to just go
Okay.
ahead and end the show. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.